Hello everyone and welcome to Mars Garden and Kitchen. I have just came back from Hawaii. I was out for a week and I'm finally back and ready to do some more gardening content. It's still really cold here in New York City, and if you're new here, my name is Mari and I'm gardening in Queens, New York. This is considered Zone 7B. I have started some seedlings a few weeks ago and I'm very excited to actually give you guys an update on how that's looking. I also want to show you a little bit of the progress on the sweet potatoes, and at the end of this video I'm going to be talking about the seeds and some other things that I got in Hawaii. So let's start with the seedlings. This is how my setup looks right now. Lots of stuff down here because I'm planning to start a few more things. These are some roll covers that I got from Johnny Seeds and I haven't taken out the box yet, and I've been trying to save some of this to start my peas very soon. I'm gonna make a video about that later. But for now, let's take a look at these beautiful healthy seedlings. Look at them. Just gonna pull them out a little bit so you guys can see how they look like underneath these lights. But this is my Napa cabbage. It's fairly big already, bigger than I thought it'll get in a couple weeks. And then there's a few varieties of broccoli. If you're curious to see exactly the varieties, I have made a video showing all the seed packages and everything when I was sowing this. I'll be sure to link that as well. There's some more broccoli, have lots of broccoli, and some cauliflower, a little slower than everyone else, as you can see. Right over there, those tiny little things are pink celery. They're getting fairly tall, as you can see here. They're almost touching the grow light. They are going to graduate to the second shelf, and I'm going to graduate them to the bottom now. It's not a really big difference. So I'll leave them up here now, the second one, and then once they get a bit closer to here, I'm gonna move them down to the next shelf and they'll have a bit more space to grow too. Some of them are really big, but the cauliflower and the celery still kind of have a little way to go. If you watched the video when I was sowing this, you saw that I put it about 2 to 3 seeds per tray, and most of them have actually germinated. So I'll have to thin them out, which means that you select for the stronger seedling. For example, this one, there's 3 of them in here, they are germinated, and this one looks a bit bigger. This one's also pretty healthy too. But then I would select out, cut this out, and let this one grow by itself. But I have a really hard time doing this. Usually if I have 2 very strong seedlings like this, I try to separate them and replant these somewhere else. They're growing really fast, so I do need to decide if I'm going to thin them out or separate them really soon. For now, I'm going to leave them here. Celery is super tiny. They were just tiny little seeds. Cauliflower, as I mentioned, not as big as these guys there, so they are a little bit slower to grow. I should have started them a little earlier, but it's okay. Let's see how they would do too. Now we're going to head back upstairs and I'm going to show you my windowsill and the progress on the sweet potato slips, and then we're going to talk about the seeds I got in Hawaii. Alright, back up here by my window. Here are the sweet potatoes. Look how much they have grown. So if you remember, those 2 really big ones were still attached to a sweet potato, which was this one. And I had a really baby sweet potato slip that I found out on the video, and I decided to leave that in here and see how much it would grow. Look how big it already is. From that was the original sweet potato that had these huge slips on it. I said I was going to put in soil, but then a few people told me just leave it in water for now, put some soil later. So they're doing good in the water actually. They're looking pretty healthy. That sweet potato, remember how small it was? Look how huge. These lips are almost as big as those guys there. So that was a lot of growth, which was nice. And the big sweet potatoes haven't really done much. Before I left, I kind of showed this little tiny sprout and I thought it would be much bigger, but it's still kind of the same size. I just changed the water and it looks a little bit slimy. And that guy too is not doing anything. But the Japanese sweet potato seems to be doing really good. It's like the champ. And now here are the seeds that I got in Hawaii inside this brown bag in here. I got a lot of stuff actually. I got this beautiful tea plant, which when I lived in Hawaii, I saw them everywhere. We even used the green variety to cook. You know, the Hawaiians used to impart flavor into things and to wrap food to cook, to steam as well. So there is a tea leaf, a tea plant right here in my apartment. Struggling a little bit because they're supposed to be outside, but this is a variegated tea leaf, so it's the same as this plant. I'm going to start this inside and I'm going to put it out in the summer. So it comes like this. So it's 2 stem parts. This is very thick stems compared to the ones I have there, and then they have some wax in here, and the instructions say that I should scrape the wax out, plant them horizontally, and wait for them to grow. So it says here to keep it moist and in partially shaded location till the roots and leaves are produced. So I'm gonna start them inside, and says to gradually move it out to full sun. So we're gonna start inside. Once it has roots and leaves, I'm going to probably start slightly acclimating outside, but they're tropical plants that like the warm weather, so I'm probably only gonna be out by May. I got a bunch of other stuff. I'm gonna talk about this later, but got a few annuals. I got some Japanese cucumbers. Look at this packaging. I love this seed pack from Whole Farms in Hawaii. And some long beans. I already have long beans, the red ones, but these are heirlooms, so they probably have the green variety in here as well. I'm excited about. There's some long squash that I actually never had, so I'm curious to try it. And there's some baby bok choy that I'm going to be starting soon. Some dark eggplant. This is Waimanalo variety, so I think this is acclimated to Hawaii. There's another Napa cabbage, and I got some more long beans because they're my favorite kind of green beans. I also got some ginger in Hawaii when I was there. They came in these little bags with this, I don't know, sawdust kind of looks like. A little moist, it feels moist in here, and it was just a little piece of the stem, I believe, with a sprout. This is the blue ginger, this one with this flower over here. Just looks like it's tiny and it didn't have any roots or anything, so I left in here so I could show you guys. The other one, this kahili ginger, was like big and have a bunch of roots in it, so I decided to plant it as soon as I got in here because I didn't want it to suffer a lot more. But this is supposed to be a super resilient ginger, and it's native from the Himalayas, and they have the ability to grow in altitudes up to 8,000 feet and endure considerable cold. So for this cold weather, the lady on the plant stand told me that yes, it would survive here in New York, so it would be just fine. And it's perennial. If I don't dig up all the roots, it will come back again next year. So I'm very curious about that. And also on the instructions over here, it told me that I can bury the roots deep enough to cover, which is new to me. I never really planted ginger, but I was watching some videos and people, I actually got a ginger too, just to show. People would just put the ginger on top of here and wait for the rhizomes to come out and then plant it. But because this already had roots, it was like a piece of ginger like this with some roots and this little sprout over here. And I buried deep enough to cover. So let's see how it goes. I hope it will do okay. We'll see. I had to plant kind of on the side because the ginger was like that way. I'm going to upgrade to a bigger pot once I see it's alive and doing well. And I'll put it outside when the weather warms up a little bit more. And I have to plant this little guy today as well. So I'm going to do the same thing, just going to bury into a little bit of potting soil. If you have experience growing ginger, let me know too. I'll love to help to learn more about it. One more thing from Hawaii, I got this Lilikoi fruit, which is passion fruit. I have some neighbors here that told me that they grow for the flower. So I'm excited to see how they're going to do in the garden this year. So now I'm adding all of this to my 2022 grow list. Also in that video I didn't talk about like fruits. Someone pointed out in the comments I do have a raspberry shrub that is dormant right now, pear tree in the backyard. In the pot garden that I helped my neighbor, he has a peach tree, a grapevine, and a fig tree in there. So I do have some fruits there we're going to be growing to this season too. But last year only the figs produced, and obviously I let him have most of them because it's his plot. I just helped mostly with the annuals. And the peach tree got a disease last year and the blossoms all fell. I'm not sure what happened, and the grapes just didn't produce very well, but I think he did harvest some green grapes from them too. And I want to do strawberries on my green stock this year. I did not do strawberries last year, but I am not going to start them from seed. I'm just gonna buy some little plant starts when the time comes, and I'm gonna do at least half of one of my green stalks with strawberries. So many people tell me that strawberries do amazing in green stalks, and I do love snacking on strawberries, so that's gonna be some fruit that I'm going to be planting this year too. And that was it. Those are the updates from coming back from vacation. So unfortunately the weather is still really cold here. I can't wait to start working in the garden and start putting stuff outside. I know it's too early, but I'm very excited to share more gardening content. I know I've been sharing a lot of cooking lately because there's not much unfortunately to show about gardening. I'll see if I can clean up the bed here in the backyard and take a look at how things are looking in the front yard too. And we'll see if I can at least prepare the beds for spring planting. One more thing, I got some free compost from the Queen's Botanical Garden. I was able to get 5 bags of free compost, local compost from New York City. So I'm super excited for this. And if you live in New York, I encourage you to take a look at the website too to see if you can find some of these events. I'm going to another event where I'm going to be bagging my own compost and bringing more compost home, which is super helpful to me because the plot's really big. I had to buy compost last year, mulch and all of that. So I'm really happy that I can find a free resource to amend the beds for this year. And I was told that it's good to put the compost out on the beds maybe 2 to 4 weeks before planting if you can wait. So this could be something that I could do. I did amend some of the front yard beds with some compost in the fall. I'm gonna put some more now to give it a chance to break down a little more. Same with the backyard beds here that I haven't touched. I moved here in January, so I still have to do some work in there. I'm gonna amend these beds here, which would be great if I can do it 4 weeks after. By the time I'm ready to plant my brassicas, the compost is gonna be even a little bit more incorporated and broken down. So that's great. That's something I'm planning to do a bit sooner, and I hope to share it with you guys too. But for now, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video if you can. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you next time.